Cool, cool. We are going live again. Looks like we're live on YouTube. Doo, 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 doo. Looks like I'm getting a little bit more routined in setting up all of the streaming now. Pop out chat. Hey, we have Jose on Twitch. Hello there. Jose Ferreira. Ooh, we got some people coming in already. Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? Tell me, guys, where are you calling or where are you joining in from today? I see good morning. I see good afternoon. It tells me there's a few time zones joining today. For me, it is afternoon. It is now almost 5 p.m. for me. Just setting up my screen and everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually stream number 6 already. Those of you who have been since the beginning, I committed to doing at least 8 streams based around Linux. So we are on stream number 6 already. So at stream number 8, we will see how far we've gotten and what we're going to do next. So just setting up everything, and I think, yeah, I can start sharing my screen now. There we go. Now you should be able to see my screen. Let's see the link here. We are live. And yeah. Always do a Linux Penguin, of course. Cool. Then with that, we are actually ready to go. How about we post this to X as well, actually? X.com. Guys, if you're not on X, if you are on X. Oh, look, Marino Vice. He is in Amsterdam. That's cool. He's a pretty big name in the tech space. Welcome to Amsterdam, Marino. Close to my hometown. If you like tea, check out, oh, what's they're called again? If you're ever in Amsterdam, you have to check out this tea shop. How can I forget that name now? Moi Chai, that's it. This is one of the best tea shops in Amsterdam. It's a shop that sells specialized Chinese tea, and they also grow their own tea. It's owned by a Georgian guy. Actually, I have gotten out of the tea hobby like in the past year. I'm just too busy, but like the Chinese tea is an amazing hobby to do, and I was really into it because I mean it goes so deep in how good tea can get. Like I was amazed if you buy proper Chinese tea, like expensive Chinese tea. Like they've gotten a little bit more commercial here. Actually, the best place to do it is Nanuoshan tea. This is a German guy. This is where I buy my tea now. But if you buy tea from here, like he sources it himself from China, and it's really expensive. But like I never thought that tea could taste this good. Like you can have like tea with actual fruit flavor, all sorts of good flavors. It's much better than coffee, much healthier for you. But these days I just drink coffee in the mornings. But yeah. So what was I doing again? Oh yeah, I was posting the stream link to um, X. That was what we were doing. X. Doing some live Linux teaching. Post. Cool. We got some people coming. Is that a Prusa Core 1? Yes, that is a Prusa Core 1. That's what I'm doing. I'm printing something in the background. Actually, I can show you. This is a bit of a reveal here. Let's see. There we go. So what I'm printing is, so if you don't know, like what I do for a living is I teach people to become DevOps engineers, and I'm very successful at it. We are landing jobs almost every week. And so people come to me and they can learn everything from, even if you're a complete beginner, I can teach you how to become a DevOps engineer. And it's a whole program from start to finish. This is what I do. And when someone then lands the job, I am hold on here, stop sharing. Here we go. I created this award for people that when you land the job, then I will give you this reward. And then what's really cool is um, hold on. So we're still working on this, but when you then get the reward, then when you land the job, I'm going to give you a reward complete with a YubiKey. Hold on. Here. So the prize is you get the 3D printed trophy, here, you would get a 3D printed trophy with a YubiKey in the middle. Wait, can I get that to zoom? Yeah. So there's the YubiKey, and like this should be glued, so it's not moving actually, but it's the trophy. And yeah, so this, as you can see, it's the CubeCraft logo, right? I will show it back in a second, but this is my company logo. And so I print the logo and the whole stand, and I paid someone a few $100s to design this. And so I'm making the first proof of concept prints for that. So that is what you see printing in the background. And that's pretty cool. Let me see, let me switch back to picture-in-picture screen. Entire screen. Here, so now you should be able to see my screen again. So yeah, that is the logo. So if you look here, this is the company logo, CubeCraft, and that is why it looks like that. And actually, I can tell you the story behind the logo. The logo is, of course, inspired by the Kubernetes logo, because I'm a Kubernetes expert. I focus completely on Kubernetes, and Kubernetes changed my life. So Cube is, of course, the name in CubeCraft is Cube for Kubernetes. So the logo then is a reference to Kubernetes. And actually, is there the craftsman's mindset here? So here, when you join and you see the craftsman's mindset, you can look into it. But the logo then is inspired by the Kubernetes logo, and also the Dhamma wheel. So it's the Noble Eightfold Path, and it symbolizes living a balanced life. So I combined that with the Kubernetes logo and the Dhamma wheel. So I'm not going to go into the Buddhist teachings, but that's what it's inspired by. So this wheel is actually not 8-pronged. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's 7 prongs. But then you will see that in the middle of the logo is a gear, and that stands for engineering and the craft, right? So there's there's a lot behind this logo that I put into it, and also the name. So Kubernetes, I believe a tech career is a craftsman's career. To become a good engineer, you have to approach it like a craft, right? So that's why the name CubeCraft comes from. And the gear icon inside of the logo references the engineering craft, and the emphasis I put on learning the craft and seeing it as a craft. So my students, this is not some sort of boot camp where you go in and you learn DevOps in 6 weeks and think you're done. No, I'm teaching people, as you've seen in the free Linux course already, I'm teaching people how to actually understand what they're doing. The containers course is 6 hours alone. We go like 20 hours into Linux, learning Vim, everything, how to start from scratch and actually learn these things. So yeah, craft. So yeah, that's what I'm printing. So if you didn't know already, the free Linux course is available here. Here you go. Let's see. You're a T head too? Yeah, I'm definitely a T head. Yeah, but I'm not doing it as much recently. I'm a bit too busy with the business, unfortunately. Farmer Leaf has EU presence now. Okay, so Farmer Leaf. What is that? Ooh, this is cool. So Yunnan is, I believe Yunnan is the area in China that's that is famous for tea. It's like a region. I'm not completely sure. Oh, but this is really cool. Thank you for mentioning that, Yunnan. So they ship to the EU as well now. That's really cool. Yeah, the true original teaware. This is lovely. Thank you very much for this tip. I'm gonna save that. Um, Hope to earn a trophy one day. Yeah, man. Go for it. Magnets to make the inside part floating. That's actually a really cool idea. That's actually a very cool idea. Yeah. This is just the first proof of concept, but that is actually a really cool way to do it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So now it is, we're actually like we were scheduled to start on 4 p.m. So now we can start. So, yeah, I'm in the first of these Linux streams. I was a bit more, I had a bit of more of a plan, but I'm just doing these streams like I'm carving out some time in my busy week to do these streams, and I don't have much time to prepare for them. So I'm just riffing off them. So last week we discussed, oops. Yeah, okay, so let me see. Tmux. Here. So last week we discussed window managers and desktop environments, what a GUI is, what a window manager is. We discussed all of that, and then last week we ended up at um, Wayland and Xorg, X11, and there were some questions about Omarchi. So we can discuss a little bit about Wayland and X11, etc. But if you have any other questions before that, just let me know, and I'm happy to dig into things before we go into that. So the next one was Wayland Omarchi. Yeah, here we go. So that's the plan for today. First live session. Hey, I recognize you from the Linux community. That's nice. You are very active, GK. Let's see, can I? No, I don't want to put user in timeout, but I can pin you. Here, yeah. I'll pin you for a bit. How about that? I drink tea from Republic of Tea. Okay. How to come into the school community. Yeah, I will share the link here. Omarchi hot take. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Join first time today. Yes, we do have the sessions archived. If you look in the classroom, if you go to the free Linux course and then go to the classroom, then here in the deep dive workshops, this is where you can see all the recordings of the live streams. Damn, there's already 6, 8. Damn, that's already 8 plus 9 hours of content there already. Lots of value. Interested in Misha's Omarchi hot take. Maybe we should start with Omarchi. How to customize the Omarchi Waybar theme. Yeah, okay. Well, this is actually already proving my point why I think Omarchi is a bad idea. And it's also related to this question. Do you recommend we start with default NeoVim or is LazyVim better for less setup? So I've done a very spicy stream earlier on learning Vim. And I spent like 2 hours explaining exactly that question. The short answer is no, you should not start with LazyVim. You should not start with NeoVim. You should start with VI and Vim and learn it properly before you even think about going towards NeoVim. So it's the week 4 here in the free Linux course. I'll share the link. If you want to know my exact reasons, then you go there and watch that. I've got a perfect learn to use regular VI case from Friday when I had to repair a broken VM in Azure. I'll post it in the group. Yeah. Warden, please post that, because that I think I already know what you are going to say, and it's actually already a case in point that you are saying this. I would really appreciate it if you could post that in the community. Yeah. Thanks for everything you do, Master Cube. Well, I do my best. Yeah. I thank you. Cool. Well, Omar. Well, it's hard to decide. Do we start with Omarchi or do we start with Wayland and X11? Maybe Omarchi. Yeah. Okay. Well, the short answer is don't use Omarchi, and I can rant about that, but I'm actually feeling very mellow and calm this week. So maybe maybe when I feel a bit spicier, I'll go into Omarchi. Let's just do X11 and Wayland for now. But the short answer is no, don't use it. Really don't do it. If you want to fire me up, then ask me some questions about it. Maybe I'll go into it. But let's just quickly go into X11 and Wayland. And to be fair, like I'm not some sort of expert in this at all. This is more going to be almost like co-researching. I mean, I do know the basics of it, but I don't have all of this in my head. So X11 and Wayland, they're both related to drawing windows on your screen. Okay. So what you're seeing here on the screen is a GUI, a graphical user interface. And every application that I'm running is visible because there is a software running on my computer that draws windows on my screen. So this browser here is a window. And if I open up Tunar, my file manager, this is another window, okay? And I can list the windows even from the CLI. If I do sway message, let me see. Like sway message, I'm not very familiar with that. Get inputs, get workspaces. Is it workspaces? Gets a list of workspaces and their status. Why can't I get all of the windows? Well, let's use sway message. Get workspaces. Hold on. Why isn't that working? Wait, how do I get a list of all windows in Sway? Oh, damn it, my fabric is not working. Setup. Anthropic. Um, yes, Anthropic. How do I configure the default model again? Use the default choose model. Now I want to fix it too. What was it again? Choose model. No, that's just for the one. Setup, search. Yeah, fabric, setup. Why are you not? Oh, here we go. Default AI vendor and model. Enter the index name of your default model. So my default model has to be Opus. Damn it, and it's not listed. Okay. Well, this is not a good start. Mansway. Get workspaces. Why doesn't it just give me the get workspaces? Or sway message output. Is it T? Sway message T get workspaces. Here we go. Finally. Okay. So I apparently have to add the T flag. So if you run sway message T get workspaces, I get a complete representation of all the windows that are running on my screen right now. So there's Tunar in workspace 6. So if I go to 6, then Tunar is there. Workspace 8 has Prusa slicer. So this is the model, the 3D model that I'm currently printing next, right? So I can see in the screen in the terminal what windows are where all the time. Okay, so you see my Vivaldi, my Obsidian. So that was the point I was trying to make, that the windows that I have on my screen are actually just a JSON object living in Sway. So this needs to be drawn on the screen by something. Okay, sorry for the distraction there, but I wanted to figure it out. Sway on Fedora. Yeah. Use QWERTY or Dvorak? I use QWERTY. So Sway then and X are Windows systems basically, or software that draws windows on your screen. That is basically what it is. Now X is actually older than Linux. Someone said that in the previous stream. But it was a common part of Unix operating systems. So it's originated in 1984, and it has been at version 11 since 1987. Okay, so it's really old. And basically, up until 2 years ago, whenever you would download a Linux distribution, it would be running on X. And so this was developed originally for Unix, but it was adopted into Linux, or GNU/Linux, basically. And what X does, it creates an X server. And the idea was that you could have many X, or that you have an X server on a large system, and then many other users could log into that system and start their own session, basically. Because in the, like, I went into this in the Linux course, but computers used to be something that like would live in a company. There would just be a room with tons of machines, and it would just be one massive system with many, many different users on it. Okay. So you didn't have your own computer. You had like a mainframe, or you had like a big shared Unix computer. Unix, usually. And these people then used a terminal to connect to that computer. Now, later, when graphical interfaces became more commonplace, then things like X11 came out in order to create a visual representation of what was going on. So, yeah, on the local machine, you open a terminal window, use SSH-X to connect to the remote machine, and then you request a local display input service. And the remote X client application will then make a connection to the user's local X server, providing display and input to the user. So a connection is made between the server and the user's computer. So you could, over the network, you could then log in and have a session over the network to these big shared mainframes. But as you see, this is a very old project that has not been in active development for a while. So there are lots of security issues with X. And that is why Wayland was developed. Wayland. It's a protocol. Are there more? Wayland is actually a US rock music band. That's interesting. Wayland the Smith, a figure from Northern European folklore. Wow. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted today, but this is really interesting. I had no idea that Wayland the Smith was this is my cultural heritage, like Old Norse, a legendary master blacksmith in Norse and Germanic mythology, renowned for his craftsmanship, cunning, and the saga. Wow, this is cool. Like, I'm all about craftsmanship. Maybe Wayland can be the mascot of CubeCraft. Wayland is a smith who is enslaved by a king. He takes revenge by killing the king's sons and then escapes by crafting a winged cloak and flying away. Really cool. Oh, this is cool. The name Wayland originates from Proto-Germanic Welandas, deriving from Wielands, literally crafting one. It appears in Old Norse as Wolundr or Wieland, and in Old Frisian as Welandu. Very cool. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm wondering if Wayland was named after that. Does it say, like, usually it will have something above the name here? It doesn't actually say where the name Wayland comes from. So, well, anyway, X11 was very old. There are security issues with it. So already in 2008, people were working on this. And before we go into Wayland, let's see if there are any questions yet. That's why Wayland Jennings was developed. Yeah. You have to spell it in the old English, Wayland. Yeah, right? Wayland. This was so cool. This is actually what I studied. Like I studied English literature and culture at university, and I had multiple semesters on Old English, so I know how to read Old English. And Old Norse Wolunder, Viordant. Yeah, very cool. Wayland the Smith. So Wayland is then a protocol, right? So Wayland is not the server. It's not the actual thing that draws the things on your screen. Wayland is a protocol, okay, that specifies the communication between a display server and its clients. So fundamentally, Wayland is documentation. Wayland is not the actual software, it's documentation that describes how a Wayland compositor should be implemented. So a Wayland compositor then is a display server that implement the Wayland display server protocol. Okay. So a display server is, we saw that with X, but let's define that as well. A display server or Windows server is a program whose primary task is to coordinate the input and output of its clients and to and from for the rest of the operating system and each other. Yeah. Yeah. So my description was the software that is responsible for drawing things on your screen. So you have your hardware, you have the kernel, and then you have the display server, which then draws the graphical interface, which then you consume as a user. And the window manager then interacts with the display server to organize these things into workspaces, for example. So a Wayland compositor, maybe we should start writing this down. Okay, so Wayland, what is Wayland? Wayland is a protocol. It's not the software itself. It is documentation that describes how a Wayland compositor should be implemented. Wait, set no spell. Okay. That is fundamentally how I understand Wayland. Okay. So a compositor, a Wayland compositor, is a display server that implement the Wayland display server protocol. That is fundamentally what it means. A Wayland compositor is a display server that implements the Wayland protocol. So there are multiple Wayland compositors. One of them being Sway, but Hyperland is also here. Woodland. So when I say Sway is a window manager, it is like the name actually is a tiling Wayland compositor. That's the correct term to use. So the differences then between X and Wayland. Yeah. I mean, that is not, we don't really have, we are not really that concerned with, like, you don't need to know this in order to land a job, right? Like, that is my main thing. but I do think it's important to understand Wayland and X and what they are and why you should not use X in 2026. So we can go as deep as you want, but the core principle here that this is basically all you need to understand. This is basically all you need to know. Set no spell. Okay. Um, Deeper knowledge of Wayland compositors is not required for landing a tech job, but it is important to understand the differences between the two for the following reasons. X11 is old, so let's see X11 security issues. Let's see, why are people saying that the X Windows system is not secure? That's actually a good question to explore a little bit. Let's see what the here. There are three possible security concerns and how X fares. Isolation between apps. X does not isolate apps from each other. If one app is malicious, it can log all keystrokes, tamper with other apps' windows, and steal the contents of copy-paste buffers, inject keystrokes into other windows. This is actually a very good security concern, right? So I'm saying that you don't need to know all the details, but this could be something that is very relevant if you're entering a organization and maybe they're using they're using Linux VMs with graphical interfaces. Then I want you to know that this is a less secure way of running those systems. Like it's not very likely that you're going to it's like most likely that you're just going to be dealing with Ubuntu server or Linux servers, but still those servers may have graphical interfaces, and then it's good knowledge to have that there is a more secure alternative to using X. So in that sense, I think it's relevant to know this information even for landing jobs. So X does not hold on, can I quit? Let me see. Okay, so there's no isolation between apps. Actually, this is actually, wow. Like I'm all about containerization. This is why I like to use Flatpaks, but I didn't know it was this bad actually. So so I will just copy this actually. There are security issues with X. See below. Quoted from, and then we'll quote this. I'm going to add these sources here. Okay. So this is a quote. So isolation between apps, preventing privilege escalation. X11 apps run as a non-root user. However, on most platforms, the X11 drivers run as root, so they can access the display hardware. This introduces the risk that a malicious app might be able to exploit some security vulnerability in X11 code and use it to become root. This is a serious risk because X11 is a complex system with a tremendous amount of code, and all it takes is one security vulnerability anywhere in that code to make a privilege escalation step attack possible. So, I mean, yes, by these criteria, X is fundamentally insecure. So, yes, I do think this is relevant for landing a job, actually. So, yeah. So there are security issues with X. Um, Ubuntu desktop does not ship with X11 installed anymore. So what that means is that you're going to be running Wayland if you're going to be daily driving Linux, and therefore you need to be aware of what is actually running on your computer if you want to debug or if there are issues with it. And finally, yeah, what will be the third reason to understand differences between the two? Or the career related one is definitely the security issue. This is why you should know it. Any other reasons? No, I think that is enough actually. Wayland, is it relevant for embedded Linux jobs with screens? Ah, I wouldn't say no. I mean, yes. I mean, I actually don't know. These 3X concerns are really concerning, though. Yeah, right. I mean, people downplay it, but it's really it is a really there are large security implications with this. A very quiet chat. Yeah. Perhaps the topic is a little bit dry today as well. As a Red Hat Enterprise Linux system sysadmin, I almost never have any GUIs in my environment, but rarely have to pop X to your desktop. Oracle DBAs are commonly the people that want it. I haven't worked with the Wayland method yet. Well, there you go. That is actually a that's actually a good case in point that there are environments that are still using X, and if you then can come in and come with security suggestions, then this is actually a good contribution to that organization. It shows that you are thinking a bit ahead and deeper than the other people. So yeah, this is basically why this is basically all you should know about Wayland, really. So we did look into window managers. So yes, last week we talked about the difference between window managers and desktop environments, etc. So the one that I'm using then is Sway, and we already saw that here. Let's see, Sway, Wayland the Smith. That was such a cool discovery. Here, Wayland. So Sway, as it says here, is a tiling Wayland compositor. Okay, if you go to Hyperland, the guy actually wrote his own Wayland compositor, right? So these are all Wayland compositors. And then there is something called WL roots, actually. Wayland. Here. Let's see. This is actually a nice diagram of how it works. So you have the Wayland protocol, then you have the Wayland client and the Wayland server. And the compositor is then the actual server that's running. So if we go to my system and do psaux grep sway, then you will see that here there is a process running here, start sway, user Misha. And you will also see that this is running as root. So this process is running as root. User bin sway. This one is then running as my own user. So we have sway background, sway idle, sway message. But if I do ps3, then let's see, we have systemd, It starts everything. Then we have something called X Wayland. That's actually something to note, that Wayland comes with something called X Wayland, which means that you can run Xorg applications on Wayland compositors. It's like an X emulator. But let's see, can we see SDDM? I think that might be it. Yeah, SDDM helper Sway. So here's the process that is running Sway on my computer. Okay. So it is running Vivaldi. These are, this is actually corresponds to the workspaces that I have running, it seems. Is it? I mean, we have here, we have Vivaldi, we have Obsidian, Waybar, yeah. Yeah, so this is actually the Sway process here. But is the SDDM helper, is that this one then? Yeah, here, SDDM helper. So here you see the process that starts the Sway, so the Wayland compositor. But as you see, that is running as root, SDDM. SDDM is running here. SDDM helper then starts Sway. So is there a man SDDM? SDDM help. Start daemon in test mode. Why is there no help SDDM? SDDM Linux. Of course, the Arch Wiki comes to rescue. So SDDM is the simple desktop display manager. So that is implemented by the Fedora distribution that I'm using. So when we talked about what does a distribution actually include, well, this is one of the things, right? The Linux kernel does not include a display manager. So in this case, SDDM was chosen. And then SDDM is responsible for starting Sway on my computer. And then Sway starts drawing all of these windows. So you can actually see everything here in the processes. This is why I love Linux so much. Yeah, very cool. But this is then also relating back to these security issues that we saw, that X11 does not isolate apps from each other, but Wayland, I'm assuming that Wayland does that. Actually, we should figure that out, because when it says here here security, this is prevalent. So the security, Wayland isolates the input and output of every window, achieving confidentiality, integrity, and availability for both. Okay, so this is very relevant actually. So if you have a program running on your computer through Wayland, then if you're running Wayland, then the program can only capture the keystrokes of that window. So it cannot just start reading the other window's inputs. This is actually a massive security risk. I didn't know it was that bad actually. So although some extensions have been developed to trying to mitigate it. And okay, so there's less code that needs to run with root privileges. Although, okay, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so that's basically all we need to know about Wayland. But it's good that we did this, because now we also know the security implications of not using Wayland. So do it. Oh, the history, that's interesting. Yeah, 2008, it was started as a spare time project. Yeah. So it's been around for a long time. Here you go. First release in 2012. And it is only now here like 2 years ago when the Ubuntu started shipping with it by default, for example. Like there have been a lot of problems with Wayland. Like I've tried a few times earlier, and screen sharing has always been a nightmare. But I am streaming this through Wayland actually. Let's see. You can run X11 only in Wayland. Yes. I was reading about some app and how to install it on Linux and said something about app image, and those are installed differently. Yes, that's right. App image is a way of packaging an application as a single binary. That's called an app image. And you simply just run it in your shell and it will work. It is similar like to Flatpak. Yeah. What's the best distro for learning? Yeah, the best one to start with is Ubuntu Server. Yeah. First time hearing all these concepts. Enlightening session, Misha. That's nice to hear. Thank you. How does clipboard copy paste work in Wayland then? That's a good question. I mean, I don't understand it on a code level, but that would be I'm actually interested by that myself. Like when you ask this question and I don't know it, then now I want to know. But before I go into it, just the comment that this person made with enlightening concepts and first time hearing all these concepts, enlightening session. Uh, I really appreciate it when you say that, but it is like this is why I know these concepts, right? Because Linux shows you everything. You have access to everything. So when I hear, oh, you should use a window manager, then my personal inclination is to, okay, but what is a window manager? Okay, and then you figure out there are window managers. So I came to the point where it was i3 and Sway, and I was like, well, oh, this is a BMW car. That's not what I was trying to hear. i3. I was like, well, i3 and Sway, what's the difference between those? And that's how I learned about Wayland and Xorg. And this is like 5 years ago already when I was looking into this, before Wayland was even mainstream. So it's always just asking, like, how does this work really? And just what I showed you here, like this attitude of just looking at your system. So how is Sway actually being run? So if I want to check out how is Vivaldi actually running on my system, well, okay, there's something called brep. Okay, cool. But I can see, oh wow, Sway is actually responsible for all of these processes, right? And it's this kind of attitude where you just go back deep, deep, deep down to the origins of things, and that's how you understand these things. But for me, like I stop at the kernel level. Like I am definitely not a kernel developer or anything like that. So PS3P. So you can do things like strace. What is strace? Not. Huh? Hold on. Strace. Is that not installed on my Linux? What? Strace. Is that not installed? That's insane. Okay. So I'm using one of these immutable OSs, which basically strip away everything, but I did not expect strace to be absent from my system. So I'll have to enter a container and then find it. So PS3 P. If you then do strace, let's do this one. U power D. Hold on, how did it work again? Trace system calls. In simplest use case, trace learns the specified command until it exits. Yeah, here we go. So I did trace cat now, and now you can see I'm actually running user bin cat. This then is going to do something called system calls. So these are the actual function calls in C code that are being made to the kernel, right? So you can actually see exactly what is going on. But this is where my depth of knowledge stops. Like I recognize a few of these things, but I don't go as deep that I actually can read this and understand it. That is above my level of understanding. But you can go, like, even with strace, you can go as deep as you want with this and actually start learning the Linux code, kernel code. I didn't do that because I'm not that, like, that does not contribute to me landing a six-figure Kubernetes job. You don't need to go this deep, but what I showed you here, the level here that I was showing, that yeah, being able to read the PS3 on your system and being able to understand each of these individual processes, I think that's important. And this is also what I do in my course in KubeCraft, where I like the free Linux course is like 8 hours, but then there's like 16 more hours of Linux teachings where I go deeper into this by building an Arch system from scratch. And then we're going to encrypt our drives. We're going to partition our drives all from the CLI, all by hand, and inspecting our system, like actually understanding all of these processes, how system D works. Everything is covered in this, so that you have a good foundation when you go into Kubernetes. So that is my teaching style. That's how I like to do it, and understanding what's actually going on. Let's see. Can we use Sway, Wayland over SSH like Tmux? No, I don't believe so. That becomes a bit harder to do with Wayland. Yeah. Let's see. I'm a normal Linux desktop user since 2004, and I started diving deep into CLI about a few years ago. That's so interesting that you've been able to use Linux for over well over a decade, like 15 years, and then only then start using the CLI. That's really interesting. I greatly appreciate your way of sharing your knowledge. Greetings from Costa Rica. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Uh, as soon as the memory address I get lost in the kernel, I plan to take a class in C assembly this summer. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Like, I would love to know more about it myself, but for me, like, my knowledge always has to contribute to my career, right? And for me, I don't want to become a kernel developer myself. So yeah. Um Here I seem you need, yeah, so with running Wayland over uh the fundamentally the problem we're trying to solve is to connect to a Linux server, right? So if that's running Wayland, then actually RustDesk is the one that I would recommend. So this is the open source remote access and support software. And this supports Wayland. Let me see. Wayland. Let me see. Rustdesk now has experimental Wayland support since version 1.2. So if you want to run display servers, then I would recommend using Rustdesk. So Fedora, configuring Xorg as the GNOME session. Yeah. Is there no... Yeah, you'll probably have to change it to Rustdesk here. That's probably what they mean with that link. Ubuntu. Yeah. Yeah, so it is possible to do this over the network. You install it, and then you install a client, and then you can connect to it. And yeah, this is how you can do it. Do you think a Linux administration job would be a good start to gain experience and work my way up to DevOps engineer? Yes, absolutely. That is exactly the way to do it. Like, becoming a DevOps engineer requires deep Linux knowledge, in my opinion. Any good DevOps engineer is a someone who knows Linux, who is able to work with Linux. And yeah, I think it's a great path to start as a Linux sys administrator and then move towards DevOps. 100%. That's the correct path to do. Sorry for the off topic. I finally installed Fedora on my laptop. It's perfect, smooth. I start with learning curve, but all okay now. Done with Windows 11. Hey, that's nice to hear. That's not off topic at all. Oh, there's a question from on Twitch sites. I'm a little lost here. I know GUIs, mostly terminal environment. But when we need something like Wayland or a window manager in general? Yeah, sites, I recommend you go to this URL, school.com/Linux. This is my free Linux course. And then in here, you will see the classroom. And then there's the deep dive workshops. And if you then look for week 5, then I explain exactly what you're asking, like GUIs, desktop environments, what the differences between them are, etc. So basically your question is fully answered there. I feel like a job where you just enter commands all day feels automatable and replaceable. Tell me why I'm wrong. Well, you're not just entering commands all day, right? Like my job, my first DevOps job, actually I can, hold on. You're not just it's not like you have a list of commands and then you are typing them in. No. My job, like I was part of a DevOps team, and we had many different developer teams. We had over 20 developer teams, all for working for the municipality of the city of Amsterdam. And each of these teams had servers, CI/CD pipelines, Docker containers. All of that stuff was running on our infrastructure that our DevOps team was managing. Okay, so we were about 5 guys, give or take, 6 sometimes. And what would happen was, like, there would be a team, oh my God, our pipeline is not working, help. And then one of us would have to go here and say, okay, well, I will go and check out what's wrong. And then we had to like this was a pretty old school environment at the time, like no Kubernetes or anything, but I would have to then SSH to the server, and then I would have to read the logs and check out what's actually going wrong here. What is the issue? Is it a full disk? Is there a network issue, etc.? So yes, I'm typing commands, but I'm figuring out as I go along what the problem is, right? So this requires to have debugging skills and a deep knowledge of the operating system that you are working with. And so all day long we were basically solving problems that people were having. And if there were no problems, then we were working on systems that would prevent these problems or backups, upgrades, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just entering a few commands. Like if you have 100 servers all running applications on them, and if you don't have something sophisticated like Kubernetes, then coordinating an upgrade of all of these servers is actually a very complicated job because this application needs to go down, which is dependent on this one. Maybe this server has 10 databases on it. So, how are we going to handle that? So, no, you're not just typing in commands. You actually have to understand these systems on a deep level. So, this is why, how, so it, there are many ways of automatable and replaceable. So Kubernetes does handles a lot of that, but still you need to have those skills. And might be able to replace by AI, which is what I'm worried about. Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I am not worried at all, because again, like an AI system is not currently able to fully understand all of this at the same time, right? It doesn't know the entire infrastructure. It doesn't know where to begin. It doesn't know what all of these dependencies are. And yeah, I've been working with these systems, and I can tell you from my personal experience that AI is not ready to just take this over. They're helping. They are making they're making this step a lot easier. Like I could get some help from AI by asking it to look at the logs and what do you think is the problem here? But there's no chance that AI is actually going to be able to manage this kind of production infrastructure yet. We're far away from that. So yeah, I'm not worried at all. I did a video on that on my YouTube channel recently where I go deeper into the argument, actually. And the great thing is, like, I'll share the YouTube video. The best part of all of this is that um, AI needs to run somewhere, right? And guess what? If you learn infrastructure and if you learn Kubernetes and how to work with this stuff, well, you're going to be the person that's running this infrastructure. And you're basically facilitating the replacement of other jobs, but you won't be replaced. So check out this video. Yeah, I can still the US government still uses 20, 30-year-old computers, so you're fine. Yeah, exactly. AI will intensify admins' workloads. Yeah, exactly. If only if anything, it's going to make it more work for us. So I'm not worried about that at all. And yeah, I mean, for like almost every day we have people signing up for KubeCraft, the KubeCraft Career Accelerator. This is what I teach. So I was a DevOps engineer, and I was in so much pain trying to land my first DevOps job. And that is why I created KubeCraft, where I actually show you how to do it. Because most people, they watch streams like this, they'll watch free YouTube videos, maybe do a few Udemy courses, but they're actually not able to land a job with that. Like watching a few Udemy courses is not enough. We actually need to teach you all of the skills that are involved with landing the job. And that means technical skills. So I teach you Kubernetes from the ground up, but I'm also teaching you something that's called a home lab so that you have a public portfolio of projects that are going to show you how to document your skills. So companies don't hire course takers, they hire people who can do the work. So I'm going to teach you how to build Kubernetes in the cloud, full cloud engineering course, DevOps masterclass, CI/CD pipelines masterclass. This is like 70 hours of technical training. And then I'm going to teach you how to get job offers on LinkedIn without even having to apply for jobs anymore. Okay. That this is a full system that is designed to land DevOps jobs. So um, this is what I built to help to solve this pain for people to um, who are struggling like I did. I struggled for well over 6 months to landing a job. It was so painful, and I don't wish that upon everyone, like anyone. Like the pain I felt by being rejected by so many jobs, it was insane. So if you are interested in landing a tech job, you can go to cubecraft.dev. I'm very happy to help you. I mentor you. Like it is not just a course. I am in CubeCraft answering questions every single day because, as you see, it's a very active community. People are asking questions and posting all the time. And I am in here answering your questions, right? I'm in here all the time. We host live calls every single week. So we have 3, 4 calls a week where you can come, ask your questions. I mentor you directly on the call, and I can help you land those jobs. And that's what CubeCraft is for. So check it out if you want that job. This is the place to do it. And um, yeah, I'm very much against Wayland. I won't leave my comfortable DWM. You are behind the times and running insecure software, and I would recommend you to rewatch the stream because we basically decided that Wayland to run X11 is basically a security risk at this point. So yeah, that's it, guys. We've been going for an hour. I'm going to um, end the stream soon. Is KubeCraft more senior level? I barely know how to use Docker, so feel I'm nowhere near ready for Kubernetes. KubeCraft is not for seniors only. Like at the end of KubeCraft, then you are approaching senior level technical capabilities when you are doing all of these projects that I'm teaching you to build. Like I know plenty of senior DevOps engineers who have no clue what this is all about. But the great thing is it is designed like I was a nurse 6 years ago, right? So I know exactly how it is to be in a position where you don't understand anything and you want to learn all of these skills from the ground up. So it goes from Linux to containers to Kubernetes. It's very slow and deliberate. So yeah, you can definitely do it if you don't have all of that. So yes, guys, this is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been week 6 of the free Linux workshop series. And next week, we will, I think I'm going to gather some questions from the community for next week. I'm not sure what the next topic is going to be, and we'll see next week what's going to happen. But I wish you all a great week. Have a good time. And I really enjoyed the chat, the questions here today. It's always a pleasure to see you deconstruct myths like Wayland bad reputation on stream. Great stuff. Good to hear, guys. Good discussion. Thank you. Very good questions today. Thank you so much, everyone. And I appreciate you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.